Hi creatives, I am Dimma and you're welcome to another interesting sewing tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to share with you how I made this gorgeous Princess that Bustier dress with a structured neckline like the one you can see in this pin picture. I'll put you through the whole process of making this structured flounce and how I fixed the structured flounce, and of course how I put the whole dress together. The pattern drafting tutorial link will be in the description box. Just go ahead and watch it so that you understand how we made these patterns. Okay, so right here, this is the off shoulder sleeve pattern that we made in the last tutorial, and this is the bodice, and of course I applied interfacing. All of this we did in the last tutorial. This video is all about putting it together and of course making the structured detail on the neckline. You can see how I applied my wording and it did not get to the neckline, so that the neckline will be flat. Now this is how I'm going to go ahead and stitch this, making sure that I match all the notches together. Very important. That is how to stitch a bustier, and this is the result after stitching it together and ironing it, and of course turning it with the lining. This is the back and this is the result after stitching the back lining and the fabric together. So the next is just to go ahead and stitch around this together and of course join it to the skirt part of this. So this is how I put all of this together. This is the skirt part and I've stitched the dart for the lining and of course for the fabric part, and I've gone ahead to iron it together. The next thing is just to place the lining and the fabric together like this. Okay, wrong sides facing each other, you just stitch it together because the seam will be exposed for this very dress. I did not do it like the regular inside seam. Okay, so you just join it together and stitch it down, and this is the result. You go ahead and serge and then bring the back bodice, mark all the seam allowances, the notches for the seam allowances, the zipper allowance and the side seam allowance, and this is how we are going to match the darts and stitch it together. After stitching it together, this is what the result is like. You're going to hold it together like this. I've serged it here. Every part that needs to be serged, I've already serged it. So you pin it together like this, and then we are going to measure to the hip line, which is about 8 1/4 or 8 1/2. Then I measured the seam allowance, that is the zipper allowance for here, because this is the center back. And of course, I marked the knee line. I'll be stitching from here to the knee line. So, and leave the lower parts open, okay, for the slits. Okay, the lower part will be for the slits. So this is what I have. My zipper will be on this upper opening and the lower part is the slit. So this is the front part, and I've stitched the dart as well. And this is the fabric part of the front. That is the first one was the lining, and this is the fabric part, which is mixed with Mikado silk and the Ankara fabric. You can see the notches on this. I placed it together and notched it. This is how I placed it and notched, so that the angular design will be equal. So this is the fabric part that I interfaced with cloth gum. Okay, that is what I'll be using to do the angular design. Now to do the angular design, you mark 2 1/2 and 2 inches, as you can see. Okay, so and then draw like this. This will give a right angled triangle for the design that is on this skirt part. So you just go ahead and cut it out like this and place on this already interfaced fabric and cut out this design using 1/2 inch seam allowance. When you are stitching, you are going to stitch 2 sides and leave the straight part. Okay, the straight part that forms a right angle, you're going to leave it open. That is where you're going to turn it inside out from, and then you go ahead and iron and then close it up, close up that open part. So that is what I did to get this. Sorry I did not cover that part, but that is exactly what I did to get this angular part. So you now have to open up this like this. You can see I marked the back part of the Mikado silk, because if you don't mark it at that beginning, you may be confused where the front or the back part is. Now I'm going to use the notches that I've already marked earlier and place the angled designs like this on it, pinning it down, observing all of those notches like that. both the right and the left part, the opposite sides of this will match exactly. That is how I got a perfect match for the two sides. Okay, make use of your notches, so important. So I'm going to place it like this and stitch, and this is the result after stitching the two sides together with the center pattern. Okay, this is what it looks like. It's looking so beautiful. I'll just go ahead and tag that angular design one point so that it will just be steady on that. So you can see how I placed the lining and of course the fabric together and stitch it together. I'll go ahead and stitch the front part to the front skirt, and this is the result after stitching it together. You can see how beautiful it's looking already. Okay, we are going to get the back part, which I've already inserted the zipper. Just place it really nicely and place the front part on it, right sides facing each other this time. Then ensure that the waistline is matching so perfectly. You can pin it down, and then take your measurements right. If you have used your notches right, you can use those notch mark and close it up. That is why I like my notches. I can go ahead and make this whole dress without taking any extra measurement because the notches are there to guide me all through. That is why I like using them. So you can see after closing it up, this is what it looks like. We'll just go ahead and fix the off shoulder sleeve, which we drafted in the last tutorial. The link will be in the description. Do well to watch that video and you will understand even better and much more than what you can see here. Okay, so this is what I have here. I have stitched the sleeve and I'm going to top stitch. Okay, I interfaced it with hairstay, just hairstay. I used hairstay on the two sides. You know that it is self-faced. After top stitching, this is what it looks like. You're going to turn it like this and stitch this lower part. Okay, so after stitching, you just trim off the excess and of course put little notches on that little allowance that is there. Just go ahead and turn it inside out and of course press. So after pressing, this is what it looks like. You can see how gorgeous it's looking already even when it has not been attached. So we just go ahead and fix this. You place it like this and stitch it down and place this other side and stitch it down. Do the same for the opposite side of the sleeve, and this is what we have. It's already looking gorgeous even without the structured neckline, but then we will still look at the structured neckline next, so that you see how I drafted and then apply that. You're going to finish up this armhole part of this. Okay, just fold it in and stitch it down, and this got us to the stage. And then this angular designs, we are going to tack it down with needle and thread, hand needle and thread. And after that, this brings us to the structured details. Just mark the middle and also measure this part, and coincidentally it got me to the same middle. Okay, so from that middle point we are going to measure 2 inches to make a circle. So after marking 2 inches like this, we just go ahead and draw your circle of radius 2 inches. That is diameter 4 inches. Okay, that is just what I did, and I had to go ahead and mark 3.5 inches all through because I want the final flounce to have 2.5 inches width. So having drawn this, I will connect one part of this to the first circle that I drew, and I will go ahead and continue marking 3.5 inches all through like this. Just keep marking 3.5, 3.5, 3.5 all through till I cover the whole Mikado silk with that as much as I can. Okay, so after covering this whole space like this, you can see what I have already. Yeah, so you have a spiral like this. This is how a flounce is made. Okay, so you just go ahead and cut out, as simple as that. Guys, if you've not subscribed to my channel and you've watched to this stage, what are you waiting for? If you've not, you're wrong, because here I share lots of detailed and easy to understand videos, and you will have no regret joining this family, trust me. So here I have a second fold of the Mikado to make these 4 pieces. Okay, you know the first one was on fold as well, so I cut 2, and this time I folded again and I cut another 2. So what I'm going to do now is to apply interfacing on it. The interfacing I applied is simply hairstay. Okay, you can see what this looks like. Okay, I applied hairstay is on one that I did the drawing on. Okay, but the rest I did not draw anything on it. I just placed it and cut it out. Here I am arranging it nicely. Okay, right sides facing each other, wrong sides facing each other, so that I will have this marking visible. Then I'm using all of them are here. Okay, in this pile of 4, I'm then cutting it out all together because it's only one that has this marking on it, but I used it to cut the rest. So just go ahead and cut out this beautiful flounce. It's easier to apply interfacing before cutting all of this out. Yes, it is easier. Okay, so after cutting it out like this, I'll just go ahead and place right sides facing each other and then stitch it down. Just watch how I'm going to place it. You're going to place it just like you can see me do, and then stitch it down. You can see what I have. I'll go ahead and stitch this till I get to the end of this. So the next is just to go ahead and notch it, as you can see me do. Notch it and then you top stitch. So after top stitching, this is what I have. I've gone ahead to iron. You can see the top stitch I've ironed. The next is to have another stitch on that. Okay, I'm going to form another stitch on this here to make a boning casing, because I'm going to use plastic bone for this. So you can see that I have a boning casing already, and this is my plastic bone, and I have applied masking tape at the tip. Very important. Then I'm going to be inserting this through. I must say that this is not the easiest thing to do, but yeah, it is possible. So I had to pass through this, boning all through it, and then this is where I am placing the flounce. After passing the boning, I'm just arranging my flounce here in a way that it is just exactly as it is in the picture that I am trying to create. Okay, just take your time, use your dressmaking pins and pin it down first the way you want it. You can see that it's doubled. Okay, is double. You can see that I used double of this. The flounce is 4 pieces, which made it 2 after joining it together, and that is how I placed it. 2, you can see that is double there. I am going to arrange it nicely the way I want. When you are okay with the arrangement using the dressmaking pins, you go ahead and tag by hand with your needle and thread. It's really a patient work, and you have to know how to charge for this job, because it will take your time. Yes, it will. So after tacking it all through to how I want, I was really satisfied because it gave me exactly what I wanted. So I took my time to tack this by hand. I'm just showing you so that you see the process. Okay, you tag by hand after arranging it. Because you need to arrange this with your dressmaking pins. So after arranging it and you are satisfied with the result, you go ahead and tack. So when you are done tacking and you're sure that you've gotten what you want, beautiful, you can now go ahead and iron where you're supposed to iron, like to finalize your pressing and all of that. And then you look at your work on the mannequin to see what it looks like. You can see what we got. You can see my work at the middle, and of course the picture that I copied by the sides. What do you think? Tell me what you think about this recreation. Are you going to try it? Do well to subscribe and turn on your notification bell. Of course, I will see you in my next one. Bye.